Hey warriors, you know what keeps most of us going? The belief that we have time. Tomorrow exists. Next week is waiting. Next year will be our year. We stack our dreams like dishes in a sink, telling ourselves we'll get to them eventually. But Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king who ruled Rome nearly 2,000 years ago, dropped a truth bomb that still echoes through time. You could leave life right now. 4 simple words that change everything. This wasn't some morbid warning, it was a wake-up call. Marcus knew something we forget every single day. Life isn't a dress rehearsal. There's no practice round. This moment, right here, right now, is it. And when you truly grasp that, when you feel it in your bones, everything shifts. The petty grudges lose their grip. The fear of taking that leap shrinks. The excuses crumble like old paper. Seneca, another Stoic master, put it this way: "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." We're not short on time, we're just terrible at using it. We hand over hours to worry, we sacrifice days to resentment, we trade years for the approval of people who don't even think about us. Once you accept that you could leave life right now, you stop living like you're invincible. You stop postponing joy. You stop holding back forgiveness. You stop waiting for permission to be who you truly are. Death becomes the teacher, not the enemy. It whispers, live now, love now, act now. This video is about being awake to life. 10 powerful truths from Stoic wisdom that will help you stop sleepwalking through your days. Each one is a key that unlocks something real, something human, something you can use today. Not someday, today. So, if you're ready to stop postponing your life, hit that like button right now. Drop a comment below. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to this channel because we're building something meaningful together. And whatever you do, don't skip any part of this video. If you're ready to stop living on autopilot, type this affirmation in the comments right now. I live awake. Number 1. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. We treat life like a movie we can pause, like we can hit stop, grab some popcorn, and come back when the lighting's better. Marcus Aurelius saw through this illusion completely. He wrote, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly. That's not dark, that's freedom." When you imagine you've already died, when you see yourself looking back at this moment from the end, you realize something crucial. The perfect moment doesn't exist. It never did. It was always just an excuse. We wait for more money in the bank, for the kids to grow up, for the project to finish, for the weight to drop, for confidence to magically appear like a gift from the universe. Life passes while we're waiting. The money comes and goes. The kids grow up while we're waiting for them to grow up. The project leads to another project. The wait becomes a permanent battle. Confidence? It only comes from doing the thing you're afraid to do. The Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, contemplating adversity. There's a flip side though, contemplating the shortness of life. When you really sit with the fact that this could be your last day, last hour, last conversation, something clicks. You stop needing permission. You stop needing perfect conditions. You make the call. You write the letter. You take the chance. The conversation you've been avoiding. The apology you've been rehearsing in your head for months. The dream you've been whispering about but never pursuing. What if today was the day? Not because everything's perfect, but because everything's uncertain. Because Marcus was right. You could leave life right now, so why live like you have forever? This doesn't mean reckless decisions, it means honest ones. Asking yourself, if this was my last week on earth, would I spend it waiting? Would I spend it preparing, or would I spend it living? The Stoics didn't wait for perfect. They worked with real. They acted with what they had. They lived in the now, not the someday. Today, do one thing you've been postponing. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today, send that message, start that project, have that conversation, take that walk. Whatever you've been saving for the right time, do it now, because the right time is the time you have, and that time is this moment. Stop waiting and claim this moment. Drop this affirmation below if you're done postponing. Today is my moment. Number 2. Your anger is drinking your life away. There's a person in your life right now. Maybe they cut you off last month. Maybe they said something cruel years ago. Maybe they got the promotion you deserved. And the wild part? They're living their life, eating breakfast, laughing with friends, sleeping soundly, while you're still carrying them, still rehearsing arguments, still feeding that fire in your chest. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it?" Read that again. The anger hurts you more than whatever made you angry in the first place. Your rage isn't punishing them, it's poisoning you. Every replay of that moment steals energy you could use to build something beautiful. Every imaginary confrontation burns time you'll never get back. The cruelest joke? They don't even know. They're not losing sleep. You are. The Stoics practiced something radical. They separated the event from their judgment of it. Someone insults you. That's the event. It happened. It's done. The story you tell about it, the weight you give it, the meaning you assign, that's your choice. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Nobody tells you about forgiveness. It's not about them. It's not saying what they did was okay. It's not weakness or surrender. Forgiveness is cutting the rope that ties you to the past. It's saying, I refuse to let this moment steal one more day from me. I could leave life right now, and I won't leave it angry. After a day of anger, you feel exhausted, right? Drained, like you ran a marathon while standing still. Anger is expensive. It costs your peace, your presence, your health, your relationships with people who had nothing to do with the original wound. You're paying a price every single day for something that already happened. Write down the name of someone you're angry with, just their name. Now ask yourself, is carrying this anger making my life better? Is it bringing me closer to who I want to be? If the answer is no, make a decision, not to forget, not to pretend, but to release, to put down the weight. You don't need their apology to free yourself. Freedom is your choice, not their gift. Number 3. You're chasing shadows while the sun sets. We're so busy building castles that we forget to live in them. Marcus Aurelius had unlimited power, wealth beyond measure, the ability to command armies. And you know what he realized? None of it mattered compared to this. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. Look at your life right now. Really look. How much of it is performance? How much is collecting things, titles, likes, followers, degrees, possessions, proof that you're worthy? And the question that stings, when do you actually enjoy what you have? When do you stop climbing long enough to see the view? We treat happiness like a destination. Once I get the house, once I find the partner, once I reach that number in my bank account, once people recognize my work. The Stoics understood something we keep forgetting. The goal isn't the point. The journey isn't even the point. The point is being fully alive right now, in this moment, with what you have. Seneca wrote, "No person has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to want what they don't have." You can spend your entire life acquiring and still die empty. Or you can wake up today and realize you already have enough. Not because you've achieved everything, but because you've stopped measuring your worth by what you lack. You've stopped chasing shadows. The last time you felt truly content, not excited, not accomplished, content. Chances are it wasn't when you bought something big. It was probably something small, a conversation, a sunset, a moment of silence, a laugh with someone you love. The real treasures aren't expensive, they're just easy to miss when you're running. You could leave life right now, so ask yourself, are you living it, or are you preparing to live it someday? Are you present with the people in front of you, or thinking about the next thing? Are you tasting your food, or just eating it? Are you here, or always somewhere else, chasing the next achievement that promises to finally make you feel whole? Tonight, do nothing productive. Don't optimize, don't hustle, just be. Sit with someone you love and talk. Lie on the grass and watch clouds. Cook a meal slowly. Read something that makes you think. Give yourself permission to exist without earning it. You don't need to achieve anything else to deserve this moment. You're already worthy of being alive. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Write this affirmation if you believe it. I am enough now. Number 4. The opinions killing you aren't even real. Something that'll mess with your head. Most of the judgment you fear doesn't exist. You're walking around carrying the weight of what people might think, could think, probably think. The truth, they're not thinking about you at all. They're too busy worrying about what you think of them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others." Read that slowly. You love yourself, but you don't trust your own opinion of yourself. You need everyone else to tell you if you're good enough, smart enough, worthy enough. And the trap. You'll never get enough approval because the hunger isn't real. It's a ghost you're feeding. The Stoics taught something revolutionary. Your character is the only thing you control, not your reputation, not what people say, not how they remember you. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." That's not permission to be reckless. It's freedom from the prison of other people's judgments. The last time you didn't do something because of what people might say, maybe you didn't speak up in that meeting, didn't share your art, didn't dress the way you wanted, didn't pursue that strange dream. You sacrificed your truth for their comfort. The wildest part, they don't even remember. That moment you agonized over for weeks, it barely registered for them. You're trading your life for shadows. You're performing for an audience that isn't watching. And even when they are watching, even when they do judge, so what? Their opinion doesn't change who you are. It only changes who you pretend to be. You could leave life right now. Do you really want to leave it as a performance, as someone else's idea of acceptable? When you stop trying to be impressive, you become interesting. When you stop hiding you're weird, you're strange, you're different, you give other people permission to do the same. The people who judge you for being real weren't your people anyway. They were never going to show up for you. The ones who see you and stay, they're everything. Do one thing today that's completely you. Wear something bold. Say what you actually think. Share something you made. Be awkward. Be honest. Be the version of yourself you hide because it's not polished enough. Not because you're trying to prove something, but because you're done performing. Because you're choosing truth over approval. Truth, even when it's messy, is the only way to actually live. If you're tired of performing for others, declare this affirmation in the comments. My truth matters most. Number 5. You're worrying about things that will never happen. Your mind is a time machine. Instead of taking you somewhere beautiful, it drags you into disasters that don't exist. You're already living through the divorce that hasn't happened, the firing that's just your fear, the rejection you imagined, the catastrophe you invented. While you're suffering through these phantom futures, the real present is slipping away. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." Just 3 words, but they contain everything. Because the present moment right now is almost always okay. You're breathing, you're here. The catastrophe isn't happening. It's only happening in your head, in some imaginary tomorrow that may never come. The Stoics had a practice for this. They asked, what's the worst that could happen? Then they sat with it, really sat with it. Not to torture themselves, but to realize something profound. Even the worst outcome is survivable. Even if you lose the job, you'll find another way. Even if they say no, you'll keep breathing. Even if you fail spectacularly, you'll learn something true. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." How much of your suffering is real, and how much is predicted? That conversation you're dreading, it might go beautifully. That risk you're afraid to take, it might be the door to everything. That failure you're convinced is coming, it might teach you something you desperately need, the deeper truth. Even if the bad thing happens, worrying about it now doesn't prepare you. It just makes you live through it twice. Once in your anxious imagination and once in reality. You're doubling your pain for no reason. You're spending your present to pay for a future that might not even arrive. You could leave life right now. And if you did, how much of your time would you realize was wasted worrying about things that never happened? How many beautiful moments did you miss because you were somewhere else in your head, catastrophizing, predicting, fearing? When the worry comes, and it will, ask yourself, is this happening right now? Not might it happen, not could it happen, is it happening right now in this moment? If the answer is no, come back. Come back to your breath. Come back to what's real. Come back to the only moment you actually have control over. This one, right here, right now. And if you need to prepare for something, prepare. Take real action. Make the plan. Do the work. Don't confuse preparation with worry. Preparation is useful. Worry is just suffering in advance for something that might never send you the bill. Build your own confidence. Drop this affirmation below to remind yourself daily, I trust myself. Number 6. You're waiting for someone to save you. There's a story you keep telling yourself. When the right person comes along, when someone finally sees your worth, when they give you the opportunity, when someone rescues you from this version of your life. Marcus Aurelius spent his entire reign surrounded by people, and still he understood the loneliest truth. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Nobody's coming, not because people don't care, not because you're unlovable or unworthy. The rescue you're waiting for can only come from inside. The permission you need, you have to give it to yourself. The validation you crave, it has to come from you first. The Stoics knew what we keep forgetting. Other people can add to your life. They can bring joy, companionship, love, support, but they can't complete you, because you're not incomplete. You're not a half waiting for another half. You're whole, right now, exactly as you are. Broken in some places maybe, healing in others, but whole. Epictetus was born a slave. He had nothing, no power, no freedom, no control over his own body. Yet he became one of the wisest philosophers in history because he realized something radical. No one can harm you without your consent. His chains were real. His mind, that was his. His thoughts, his character, his choices within his circumstances. Nobody could take those. You're not a slave, but you've enslaved yourself. To the opinions you imagine, to the rescue you're waiting for, to the idea that your life begins when someone else decides you're ready, the truth that terrifies and liberates at the same time. Your life is happening right now, and you're the only one who can live it. What you're postponing until someone gives you permission, the career change, the creative project, the boundary you need to set, the life you actually want instead of the one you think you should want. You're waiting for a sign, for encouragement, for someone to tell you it's okay. You could leave life right now. Are you really going to leave it waiting? When you stop waiting, you start asking different questions. Not, will they approve, but, does this feel true? Not, what if I fail, but, what if I never try? Not, who will catch me, but, can I trust myself to get back up? And the answer to that last one, always yes. You've gotten back up from everything that's knocked you down so far. Your track record is perfect. Identify one thing you've been waiting for permission to do. Something that requires nobody's approval but yours. Maybe it's a small act of self-care. Maybe it's a big life decision. Whatever it is, do it this week. Not perfectly. Not with everyone's blessing. Just do it. Give yourself the permission you've been begging the world for. Be your own rescue. Be your own green light. Be your own reason to start living instead of waiting. Number 7. Your comfort zone is becoming your cage. There's a version of safety that protects you, and there's a version of safety that slowly kills everything wild and true inside you. Marcus Aurelius could have hidden in his palace, could have avoided the battlefield, the hard decisions, the uncomfortable truths. Instead, he wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." You know what he's saying? The thing you're avoiding is the thing you need. The discomfort you're running from is the doorway to growth. The fear that's keeping you small is the exact place where your bigger life is waiting. We've built lives that feel like padded rooms. Same routine, same people, same safe conversations that never challenge us, same choices that never risk anything. We call it peace. It's not peace, it's numbness. It's the slow fade of becoming less than we could be because we're too afraid to be uncomfortable. The Stoics didn't seek out suffering. They weren't masochists. They understood something crucial. Voluntary discomfort builds strength. When you choose the hard conversation, the difficult workout, the scary opportunity, the unfamiliar path, you're not just doing something hard. You're proving to yourself that you can. You're expanding what's possible. Seneca practiced poverty regularly, not because he hated wealth, but because he wanted to know he'd be okay without it. He'd sleep on the floor, eat simple food, wear rough clothes. He was training himself not to fear loss, making sure his happiness didn't depend on things that could disappear. That's wisdom. That's freedom. What are you afraid to lose? What's keeping you trapped? Is it the job you hate, but the paycheck you need? The relationship that's comfortable but not alive? The city that's familiar but too small? The identity you've outgrown but everyone expects? You're clinging to the known, even when the known is slowly suffocating you. You could leave life right now, and if you did, would you regret playing it safe? Would you wish you'd taken more risks, said more truths, tried more things that scared you? Or would you be proud that you protected your comfort at all costs? This week, do something that scares you, not something dangerous, something uncertain. Have the conversation you've been avoiding. Try the thing you think you'll be bad at. Go somewhere alone. Ask for what you want. Sit with the discomfort instead of numbing it. Feel yourself expand. Feel yourself become someone who doesn't need everything to be comfortable to keep living. Comfort is nice, but it's not a life. Growth is messy, but it's real. Number 8. You're keeping score in a game nobody's playing. You remember things people don't even know they did. That favor you did 3 years ago. That time you showed up when no one else did. That sacrifice you made. That kindness you extended. You're carrying around a ledger, keeping score, waiting for the universe to balance the books. Marcus Aurelius understood. When you arise in the morning, Think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Notice what's missing from that list. Getting even. Being owed. Collecting debts. The Stoics knew that keeping score turns your life into arithmetic, and you can't calculate your way to peace. The brutal truth. Most people don't remember what you remember. They're not keeping score because they're too busy living their own lives, fighting their own battles, carrying their own wounds. That thing you did for them that you think about every time you see them, they forgot. Not because they're ungrateful, because human memory is selective and self-centered. We all remember our own pain more vividly than someone else's kindness. When you keep score, when you track every good deed and every slight, you're not protecting yourself. You're building a prison. Every unreciprocated favor becomes a brick. Every unacknowledged sacrifice becomes a bar. Until you're locked inside your own resentment, rattling the cage, demanding someone notice how much you've given. Epictetus taught his students something counterintuitive. If you wish to be loved, love. Not keep track of who loves you more. Not withhold until they prove themselves. Just love. Give. Show up. Not because you'll get something back, but because that's who you've decided to be. Your character isn't transactional. Your integrity doesn't come with receipts. The energy you spend tracking debts. The mental space you waste replaying moments where you gave more than you got. The bitterness that creeps in when people don't meet you at the level you met them. All that energy could go toward living, creating, loving freely, building something that matters more than being even. You could leave life right now. And if you did, would your legacy be the score you kept? Would people remember you as someone who gave freely or someone who counted every coin? Would they feel your love or your ledger? When you stop keeping score, you become free. Free to give without expectation. Free to love without needing proof. Free to help because it aligns with who you are, not because you're building credit for later. And paradoxically, when you stop demanding reciprocity, you often receive more. Not because people owe you, but because your freedom is magnetic. Because people want to be around someone who isn't constantly measuring. Forgive a debt. Not the money kind, though maybe that too. Forgive someone for not showing up the way you did, for not loving you the way you loved them, for not seeing your sacrifice. Let it go. Burn the ledger. Not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve freedom. Carrying score is exhausting, and you have better things to do with your one precious life than be an accountant of grievances. Break free from keeping score. Share this affirmation if you're ready to let go. I give freely. Number 9. You're drowning in noise and calling it connection. Your phone buzzes. Another notification, another update, another person's carefully curated highlight reel, another headline designed to trigger you, another opinion you didn't ask for, another distraction dressed up as information. You're scrolling, consuming, absorbing it all, thinking you're connected. Marcus Aurelius would call this what it is, noise. He wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." We've confused connection with consumption. We think knowing what everyone's doing means we're less alone. You can scroll for hours and still feel empty. You can have 1,000 followers and 0 friends. You can be constantly connected and deeply lonely. Real connection isn't digital. It's not curated. It's messy and present and real. The Stoics valued silence, not the absence of sound, but the presence of clarity. They knew that wisdom comes from stillness, from sitting with your own thoughts instead of filling every gap with someone else's. Marcus would retreat into his own mind, have conversations with himself, question his reactions, examine his character. That's where he found truth. In the quiet, in the uncomfortable space between stimuli. When's the last time you sat in complete silence? No music, no podcast, no TV in the background, no phone in your hand, just you and your thoughts. It's terrifying, isn't it? In the silence, you have to face what you've been avoiding, the decisions you're postponing, the relationships that aren't working, the dreams you've abandoned, the person you're becoming versus the person you wanted to be. We fill our lives with noise because silence reveals too much. The Stoics understood. You can't grow in the noise. You can't think clearly when you're constantly reacting. You can't know yourself when you're always consuming someone else's thoughts, someone else's life, someone else's carefully filtered version of reality. You could leave life right now. How much of your time would you realize was spent watching other people live instead of living yourself? How many hours vanished into the scroll? How many real moments did you miss because you were documenting them for people who weren't even there? Take a technology Sabbath, one day or even just one evening completely offline. No phone, no laptop, no checking, just real quick. Just you and the world that exists when you're not mediating it through a screen. Read a physical book. Have a face-to-face conversation where nobody's half present. Cook a meal without photographing it. Watch the sunset without posting about it. Remember what it feels like to exist without an audience, to be present without proving it, to live without performing it. Reclaim your attention from the digital noise. Drop this affirmation below. I choose presence. Number 10. You're treating tomorrow like a promise. The final truth, the one that ties everything together. You're living like tomorrow is guaranteed, like you have time to waste, like you can postpone the important conversations, the big dreams, the real living until some mythical later that may never arrive. Marcus Aurelius, who could have had anything, who ruled an empire, who had every reason to believe in his own permanence, still wrote, "You could leave life right now." Let that determine what you do and say and think. This isn't morbid. This is the most life-affirming philosophy you'll ever encounter. When you truly accept that this might be it, that today could be your last day, you stop saving your good dishes for special occasions. You stop waiting to tell people you love them. You stop postponing joy until you've earned it. You stop treating your life like a rough draft. The Stoics meditated on death not to be depressed, but to be alive. Seneca said, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing." That's not giving up. That's waking up. That's realizing that the life you're planning to live someday needs to become the life you're living today. The last time someone you knew died unexpectedly. Remember that moment when it hit you. Life is fragile. Time is limited. None of us know how much we have. You probably thought about living differently, loving harder, risking more, being more honest. Then the shock wore off, and you went back to living like you're immortal, back to postponing, back to waiting. What if you didn't go back? What if you stayed in that clarity? What if every morning you woke up and remembered, I could leave life right now, so how do I want to spend today? Who do I want to be? What matters? What's just noise? What do I need to say? What do I need to do? What do I need to let go of? This doesn't mean living recklessly. It means living intentionally. It means making choices that reflect your values, not your fears. It means being the person at your own funeral that you'd want people to remember. Not perfect, not without mistakes, but real, present, brave, kind, authentic. Someone who showed up for their own life instead of watching it pass by. You could leave life right now. So, what are you waiting for? What conversation needs to happen today? What dream needs to start today? What forgiveness needs to be offered today? What risk needs to be taken today? What truth needs to be spoken today? Not tomorrow, not when you're ready, not when it's convenient. Today, tonight, before you sleep, answer this question honestly. If today was my last day, would I be proud of how I lived it? If the answer is yes, beautiful. Do it again tomorrow. If the answer is no, then tomorrow becomes your chance. Not to be perfect, but to be present, to be intentional, to live like someone who knows that time is the only currency that matters and you can't save it for later. Make today count. Comment this affirmation as your commitment to yourself. I live like I mean it. So, we've arrived. 10 truths, 10 keys, 10 ways to stop sleepwalking and start living. Marcus Aurelius sat on a throne and still understood what most of us forget in our ordinary lives. You could leave life right now. That's not a threat. That's a gift. It's the wake-up call that changes everything. You don't need more time. You need more presence. You don't need perfect conditions. You need real action. You don't need everyone's approval. You need your own integrity. You don't need to keep score. You need to give freely. You don't need tomorrow. You have today. The Stoics weren't philosophers hiding in libraries. They were soldiers, emperors, slaves who became teachers. They lived in the real world with real problems. They found a way to be free even when circumstances tried to chain them. That same freedom is available to you, not someday, right now. Take these lessons and use them. Stop waiting for perfect moments. Release the anger that's poisoning you. Stop chasing shadows. Free yourself from imaginary judgments. Come back from the worry that steals your present. Save yourself instead of waiting for rescue. Choose growth over comfort. Burn the ledger. Choose presence over noise. And live like you mean it. You could leave life right now, and that means right now is everything. If this video resonated with you, if you felt something shift, hit that like button. Drop a comment below with the affirmation that spoke to you most. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to this channel because we're building a community of people who choose to live awake, who choose to show up, who choose to be real. Thank you for being present. Thank you for your time, which is the most valuable thing you have. Now go live like you know what that means. Celebrate this gift of breath and being. Type this affirmation to honor your existence. I am alive.